Hey everybody, it's Darren Cheap from Ozark Mountain Lures. So the other day I was on YouTube trying to find it's kind of windy out here, I hope you can hear me. But I was trying to find a video on setting what people's got out on cat trapping with cages and gray fox trapping with cages. And there's a lot of good videos out there, mostly from Western guys, but there wasn't a whole lot on there on Eastern guys setting with cages, and I don't run a whole lot of cages. As a matter of fact, my only cat cage, and I'm not even sure who makes this cage. It's a really good cage though. I got it from Jeb from Okie Trap Supply. Called Jeb. He sells them. They're relatively cheap for the quality they are, and Jeb will cut you a deal. He's always wheeling and dealing, especially at conventions. He has a lot of these. But I decided I'd make a set here for cats, show how I set them. I have caught several cats in these. I just don't use them like a lot of the Western guys do. I just use them whenever I'm worried about dogs and stuff. And right now I'm on my property, but right behind us is a fence line, and the neighbors got dogs that they refuse to put up. And I've seen some cat traffic up and down here over the summer, and my boy said he's seen one about 2 weeks ago right back in here eating on a deer rib cage I threw back here from a deer he killed. So I decided I would set this spot up and show you how I set them up. A lot of guys will scuff up the ground and cover it, put shift dirt in them like a regular set. That takes too long for me, and I don't really want to do that. So what I normally do when I'm gonna set a cat location up, I bring in my bedding from inside my for the inside of my trap, so their feet ain't walking all over my inside my my trap and on the cage. And what I have here is just chicken. This is just debris out of my chicken house. It's just straw that the chickens have been living in, crapping on and pooping, and smells like chicken probably. And I just bring enough of it along with me to cover the bottom of the cage. And another thing about this, like I said, it smells like chicken, but it has a lot of chicken feathers in it. I can see them just kind of in there inside the debris, so that's why I like the chicken. And it seems like I'm always using this. I always carry a bucket of it with me when I plan on setting my cage, which is not real often, but like I said, they're good in places where you couldn't get away with setting traps because of dogs. That's why I set them. That's about the only time I set them, is because of dogs. Dogs drive. I don't want to catch the neighbors' dogs. They've already explained to me how much they don't like trapping and how much they don't like deer hunting, and I don't want to be in a feud with my neighbors. So even though I really want to set footholds, and I don't like letting somebody tell me what I can and can't do, but I don't want to mess with them. I don't want to have to fight. So basically the inside of my cage is full, covered. The pan is covered. The pan is still in working order though. I can take a stick like such, and the cage drops. Very easy to set. Very easy this way. So I got a little debris out here outside my trap itself, which doesn't matter at all. Makes the area look different. Right here I got several feathers from the chicken coop. What I'm going to do with those is grab up as many as I can and just throw them back there. Just make it look like I'll even throw a few on the outside, make it look like something's really happened in there, like a cat has maybe already killed something in there. What I have here is my lure. It's Bird Circle Bobcat formula. It's really good stuff, works great on cats. I'm going to take a little bit, give it a nice squirt of it in the back, and then I'll take a little bit and almost make a trail outside the cage where up and down, leading right into that cage. I use a lot of this stuff when I'm setting, so you might notice that. Right here I have a good sized feather. I'm going to use my Night Stalker. It's a predator call lure. It's real skunky. It's got beaver castor. It's got mink glands in it. It's got some other ingredients in it. It's got a lot of skunk. It's kind of it's not quite a call lure because it's not so strong you can't use it right at the set. I like a lot of smell coming out for a cat personally. I probably use too much for a cat, but I don't use nearly this much when I'm canine trapping. Put a little glob of it back there on that feather and drop it on one side of the cage. Now, in the back of this cage, I could have cut this back before I started my video. I'm going to put a flag. What I have here is a big old white Christmas tinsel. It looks like a big white deer tail almost, but it's shiny. It's got some shine to it. I'm just going to hang it in the very back of the trap, past the pan, give that real well. If and when I catch a cat here, I can tell you this has got to be destroyed. It's going to be in 1,000 little pieces, and I'll have to get a new one. Also in the back of the cage, I'm going to put a little bit of Missouri mud sauce. It's just a straight up beaver castor lure. It's got some other ingredients in it. I'm going to put a little bit of that on my flag, get that odor up a little bit, and then I'm going to drop the rest of it in the back of the cage and cover it up. And that's all there is to the luring of that. Yes, I used a lot of lure, but I'd rather catch the animal, give him something to get excited about instead of just a little bit. It's not like I'm coyote trapping where they can smell it really well anyways, which a cat has a good nose. He can smell it, but I've been doing that for years for cats. I don't know why. I've heard it every way. I've heard guys say a cat has a really good nose, which I do think they have a really good nose. You don't need to use a lot of lure. But when it comes to cats, that's something that I've always done. I've always used a healthy amount of lure with them. And I'll probably keep using a healthy amount of lure. Now, I cut some cedar limbs, some small cedar limbs here. These are good limbs. I just cut them off, and that's just to lay on top of my trap. And the reason I do this, do I think a cat will work it if they're not on here? Yes. Do I think a raccoon will get on top of this cage and fool around? Absolutely. That's my biggest pet peeve when setting these cage traps. Seems like raccoons like to get on top of them too and set them off, and you'll have nothing in them. I've had that happen several times, so I always put something on top of the cage. It's already kind of in here pretty good, and a lot of good amount of cover on the cage as it is. Kind of toss these in here. They don't have to be any certain way. Here's another stick. Throw on there. Now I'm going to take some of these feathers and straw and just kind of scoot it around, grab the cat's attention, hopefully from a distance. Some of these feathers are already starting to blow up and blow around out here. And that's how I set my cages up for cats. Right back here, I'll show you a couple different views of it. Right back here is my my flagging. Looks kind of like a spider web, a spider hanging there, a big silver and blue spider. Now, if you're a cat and you're coming down through here, it's getting dark. Hard to see. See if I can turn my light on. I guess I can. Anyways, if you're coming down through here, you got a trail running back into this thick cedar. These thick cedars, you got an open field, a brushy fence row running back here. On the other side, same thing, real thick. And then you got my field right in behind it. So if you're a cat coming through here, this is what you're seeing. See my big feather in the back? I got a lot of good lure smells out on the ground around it. I think this will be ready to catch a cat when the time comes. Thanks for watching. If I make a catch, I'll be sure to show it to you. Hello everybody, it's Darren Cheek from Ozark Mountain Lures. Well, here's the results of the cage trap I set for the Bobcat. Remember when I made this set, I used a little bit of burn circle Bobcat urine and some Night Stalker and a little glob of Missouri mud sauce on the flagging. This is a set I made the other day that I showed how to set the cage trap. Me and my daughter Kimber came out here to check it this afternoon, and looks like we hit pay dirt. Not a real big cat. Cat nevertheless. Awesome.